Does it look like?
If I get that loud, how does it look? I can't.
Cool.
Okay.
Super even. All right. Well, shit. I guess we should begin. All right. What's up? We in here. We in the studio. You know how it is. You know how I do it. Whatever. Who cares? Anyway, I'm here with the fantastic, the charming, the perplexing Jonathan Grout.
Yes.
Jon Grout.
No.
Is that Grout?
It's Grout.
Jon Grout.
It's like the stuff under your bathtub.
Like the stuff that you use to keep ceramic together. Mm-hmm. That's disgusting.
To keep your tiles from divorcing.
Why do you have that name?
Because my dad's side of the family is like this weird German-Italian mix, and his dad was German. And it's
Grout sounds pretty.
It's a good German last name.
It's very German, yeah.
Yeah.
Is your dad's side of the family the cult one?
No, that's our whole family.
Oh, that's the whole thing.
No, I mean like my immediate family. That was my dad, my mom, my brother, and me. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That was it. Nobody else.
Did they meet in the? Your parents? Did they meet in the cult?
Oh no, they met They met in the late 60s.
Did they have 70s. Like a normal we were at the Bowl-orama and
yep.
She really?
They had that, but they also had like their own weird kind of. Every neighborhood has some dark thing going on, and there's always some molesty shit going on someplace, and so they endured some of that themselves.
Wow.
When they were kids, and then my mom was actually she was kidnapped for about 15 minutes when she was a kid.
What?
She was I guess she used to tell this story about being like maybe 5 years old at a park, and the ice cream man was coming by, and he had one of those like push freezers.
Right, yeah.
And she ran over to him, put her arms up. She might have been even younger than 5, but I don't know. She put her arms up. He grabbed her by the wrist, and he put her inside the freezer.
What?
And then he shut it, and he ran away. And fortunately, other adults saw it and went and stopped him and saved her. And but my mom had this crazy thing about never wanting bracelets on her wrists.
Yeah, no shit. That's a traumatizing experience.
Yeah. So that was their. I mean, aside from that, their growing up was pretty. Let's go to the mall shoppy. And
yeah.
Are
they from California?
They were both born and raised in Alameda, which is up near Oakland.
Okay, yeah, that's more Northern California.
Yeah.
How did they come to be in the cult?
We after my brother and I were born, we moved from Alameda to Pinole, which is another little Bay Area town.
Uh-huh.
And my brother and I started one of our babysitters started molesting us, and all this stuff started happening.
Jesus.
Yeah. It was, every small town has.
It's just an actual David Lynch narrative in every small town.
It's how you know God is real, huh?
Jesus, man.
Yeah. So we and then there was this, once that came out, that went on for about a year or so, and then that came out, and then this psychotherapist said that this woman was trying to single white female my mom and try to act like her. And
single white female your mom?
Oh, you don't know what that? Did you ever see Single White Female?
No, am I out of the loop on this?
You should see that movie.
It's
kind of retrending again. It came out in '92.
Oh, and it's one of those everybody's getting re-obsessed with it or something.
So people are kind of talking about it again. Yeah, it was about it was one of those sexy. That's me. My knee keeps hitting it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was one of those
just shaking of its own accord.
Yeah, it's nervous.
It's trembling because the Spirit of Christ obviously is within
you. Us. Yeah. Watch out.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, but no, it was about this woman who puts up a single white female ad in the newspaper because she needs a roommate after her boyfriend. She finds out that he was cheating on her, so they break up. Mm-hmm. So this woman comes in to live with her, and then the roommate starts noticing weird things like this girl is dressing like her, and she's wearing her clothes, and she's borrowing all her things, and suddenly her hair looks just like her. You basically find out she's this psychopathic grifter who's trying to assume her identity and kill her.
Huh.
And it's, oh my God, it's a fucking badass movie.
That's really interesting.
So and there's probably a name for that condition. As crazy as it sounds.
It almost sounds like it's like not a fugue, but it's like the desire to overtake someone's identity. I bet you that's a condition. I studied psychology, so I should know it.
Well, what's that thing called? Have you watched The Act about the?
No, but I'm like semi-familiar with it.
You know what that's a true story. That woman had.
That's like a medical condition or something.
I want to say bipartisan. I don't even know if that's like it's
bipartisan republicanism.
Yeah. No, it's like
a tragedy.
It's a sad thing. But who's texting me? He says, "Text me when you're done." Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
No, but anyway, so my mom, we knew this woman. You
can get a little closer too, probably.
Oh, I can get a little closer.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah. So we knew this woman. I'm not going to say her name, but
probably a wise decision.
Yeah. Anyway, she found out that my brother and I were being, molested by these babysitters and the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so then she recommended
babysitters.
Yeah, we had a couple.
And were they all in on it together or what?
Except for one.
One was just like, look.
One was not into all that. But yeah.
But she just kept he's or what?
We had both, but it was always the he's that did the kinky shit.
How old were you?
Yeah. Oh man. Probably 6 to 8, something like that.
So gross.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. So anyway, so my this woman, she finds out that we're being molested by these babysitters, right? And then she tells my parents, well, you need to, first of all, get the babysitters arrested, go to the cops, blah, blah, blah. So we had to go through that whole
rigmarole.
Like all of that, which is always fucking crazy. Have you ever had to like deal with cops over an ongoing thing?
Not really. No, I've had to deal with legal stuff.
Yeah.
But that's really not cops. Cops weren't really involved.
Yeah.
It was a civil thing that needed to be settled.
Right. Well, so anyway, I don't know, long story condensed a little bit. We wound up going to see a therapist that this woman had recommended.
Yeah, of course.
The therapist was a fucking crazy child psychologist who had glued like ashtrays to the ceiling and the walls in her bathroom.
What?
And she was just fucking weird.
For art?
For art, but I don't know. Anyway, she basically like finds out that, and this is where the single white female thing comes in.
Okay.
She finds out that the woman whose name I'm not naming,
right.
after she recommended we go to see this crazy psychologist, the woman who I'm not naming, she went to other people in our church in Pinole and basically told everybody, oh, the parents knew that the babysitters were molesting them and they didn't care. Like just a bunch of weird...
Is that true or no?
No.
Your parents didn't know?
No, they had no idea. They were too fucking...
Why would this woman who you're not naming do that? Because she's just crazy or what?
Because she's crazy and she probably suffers from...
something.
One of these things,
yeah. Bipartisan Republicanism.
Yeah, well, again, that's why I mentioned single white female, because something else that happened was she started mimicking my mom's mannerisms, way of speech, vocabulary.
Oh, that's...
and so that's where the single white female thing comes in.
Highly disturbing.
It's really disturbing, and anyway...
You pick now to eat?
Oh, my God. Just another pussy fucking things up. If
I had $1 for every pussy that's fucked up in my life, I'd have, probably more than I have now. Anyway.
You could buy an expensive bottle of cologne for your father.
for Christmas. That was my first thought, too. I'm like, spend it on someone else, not me. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so she goes and tells everyone that your parents are bad and evil. She's essentially just trying to take your mom's role.
I don't know.
Or something.
It's probably some sort of like, I need a sense of I'm a hero here and I need validation. I don't know what the fuck that woman needed.
Sick.
But anyway, so basically the long and the short of that is my parents decided to move.
Okay.
Because it just got to be really weird and ugly.
Too weird.
Yeah. Fuck. we moved to a town called Vacaville, which was about an hour south of Pinole.
Okay.
And we got involved with this church. And at first, it was just a very normal American church.
Yeah.
Nothing of note except for how big it was. It was this really big, like kind of a mini warehouse, basically. And then it had a school.
Was it like a mega church or?
It was a mini mega church.
Okay, because I've been to like where I'm from. I've been to like a couple mega churches, like the Joel Osteen kind of total phony, just bullshit. Just.
Oh my God, Joel Osteen.
Osteen. Like, it's just the smile. I'm just like, dude, stop lying,
Shit-eating
bro.
grin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you're so fucking rich. I'm sure God wanted it that way, too. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway, like, so what's like a mini mega church? It just wasn't that big? Like, as big as a mega church?
It just wasn't as big as the things you said, but it was big.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
fucking big.
It was a huge spot.
I don't know anything about the square footage, but
Right,
anyway.
well, and it's, you can't give me the exact blueprints
I can't
for this building?
I don't have them.
That was the one thing I told you to bring.
Oh.
Grout.
Well, I guess this interview's over.
Yep, that's kind of the end of that. Well,
Yeah.
but did it wait, what town was it in? Vacaville?
Vacaville. It's up near Sacramento. It's about 45 minutes north of Sacramento.
Is it a small town?
It's a very small town.
So what are they doing with such a big church?
That's actually not such an uncommon thing.
Yeah, I guess not.
I learned after studying a lot of cults and kind of what they do and where they go and how to. Anyway, but when we got into this church, it was simply a big church that was pretty normal.
Yeah.
And then in the summer of 1996, all these crazy people arrived from Pensacola, Florida at our church, and they basically said, we caught the revival in Pensacola, Florida, and we want to bring it to y'all.
Okay.
And suddenly, like, I didn't know it at the time because I was young. I was like 12 years old.
Yeah.
But what I witnessed was basically the makings of a cult.
Right.
Like, because it was just a church to begin with, and then suddenly these people came over with what I'm guessing now as an adult promises of money and financial gain to the kind of powers that be that ran the church. You know,
do you know why they came from Florida? Like, why'd they come
Money.
here? Just money?
Money. I mean, what makes it, I tell people all the time, because I've been interviewed about, I get interviewed about this, from time to time. And I just lost my train of thought because
I'm interested in, isn't there like shit on Netflix about this like cult that you...
Oh, about mine?
Yeah.
No.
What was it called? Did it have a specific name, or was it just or do you not want to call it out?
I don't really want to call it out.
You don't want to call it out?
No.
So, okay, so you go...
Eventually, someday I will.
No, but okay, so you get into this cult.
Yeah.
How many years do you spend being a part of it?
Well, I watched it become...
Okay, right, okay.
Yeah, so it took but you know what, actually, it didn't take that long.
I'm sure.
I remember it was about 6 months, and the next thing we know, we see all of this, basically... You want to hear a crazy fucking story?
Yeah, I do. You are a deep well of crazy fucking stories.
I have
so
a lot
of course
crazy
I want to hear
stories. So when this guy came and he announced to everybody, we caught this revival. You should adopt what we
caught the
found.
honey.
We caught the revival. So this guy, who I won't name, gets up on stage and he says, when they were in Pensacola, Florida, all of a sudden they had this outbreak in the church of kids and teenagers suddenly feeling pain in various parts of their bodies for no reason.
That's weird.
And he got up on stage because the Lord told him to announce to the room, I need all the children to come up on stage and we're going to have you announce the pains that you have.
Okay.
And so the kids get up on stage and they started saying things like, oh, I have a pain in my on the right side of my hand, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. You know, and then the guy would be like, all right, if anybody has that pain on the right side of their head, I need you to stand up in your chair right now. Stand up right now. And then people would stand up. And then he would have the kid like extend his or her arms and pray, and then she would, start speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, those people would be healed. They were suddenly healed.
Okay.
It wa-
That's ridiculous. Well, I can't remember what, like, I don't know if it was a documentary or something like a documentary, but it was like, I don't think it was Joel Osteen. It might have been. It was one of these megachurch motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Megachurch motherfuckers, by the way. Great band name.
That is a good name.
That is a good one. Although on the podcast I did with Ian, I came up with the Ellen Degenerates, which I think is
That's pretty
probably
good,
better.
too.
Yeah.
The Ellen Degenerates.
The Ellen Degenerates.
That would get some attention from her, I
Right?
imagine.
Yeah. And she's actually really funny too. But yeah, there was like this documentary where it was basically the guy who was like the megachurch preacher was like, okay, they would have people come in, and when they came in, they would fill out some information on a card. And so what he would do is his wife would be reading him information from a card about specific individuals in the congregation. It's mega church, huge. And it was all televised. It was part of that televangelism movement. And so he'd go, is there a, and then he'd say the name of somebody. Is there a John? You know, and a couple Johns would, is there a John? And then he'd get the last name. He's got an earpiece. And then he knew what they had been struggling with because they ask him before they come in, do you have any issues that you'd like God to resolve for you, you know, or whatever? Like, I don't know, man. God gave me the disease.
So it was a documentary about the scam itself.
Yeah, it was total scam artistry. And I guess that what differentiates that from like a cult? You know, why? That wasn't a cult. That was just a money cult, if you will. I mean, it was just a scam.
Well, it's a tricky thing right now because so many people cults are a big topic right now.
Yeah.
Because so many people are suddenly at a place where because of social media and because now it's easier to hear other stories.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, more and more people are coming forward saying, I think I might have been in a cult. And then when they start describing their stories and everybody gets to see it now, which they couldn't have seen back in the 90s, you know, I think we're in a place where people are suddenly recognizing like, oh my God, that's what that is. You know, and what I kind of tell people is I think there's two of everything, but I would say there are two types of cults. There are the cults that are just strictly about the money, and then there are the cults that they're probably still about the money, but they really believe the shit they're preaching.
Yeah, right.
And for me, the scarier one is the second one.
Yeah.
The ones where they really believe what they're preaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw a lot of that.
That scares the shit out of me.
And that was like something that was common. There was a guy who used to go around carrying a sword with him. Like,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was like a real sword, and he would wear a sash. Like
Who's that guy? That's Bill. He carries a sword.
Yeah.
It's his thing.
And then he used to like.
Some people have mohawks, other people carry swords.
Yeah, exactly.
You motherfucking cat.
Get out of that bag.
You and your damn paper bag.
Get out of that bag.
This cat loves. All right, you just stay there and you stop making noise.
We're going to throw that paper bag off the balcony.
If you don't behave soon. Anyway, okay, so, all right, so.
But the long and the short of that is we basically like witnessed the building of this cult of what it was.
Yes. And how did you you got away from it somehow, and you saw a bunch of weird shit.
I saw a lot of weird shit. The weirdest thing was the rituals. Like there were a lot of really bizarre rituals. You know, it was
cool.
Yeah. I guess the thing that finally got me to start to recognize, because I didn't know the word cult, and my mom I was in fourth grade when we moved to Vacaville. My mom was homeschooling my brother and me. We moved to Vacaville. We get involved in this church, which turns very quickly into a cult.
Right.
And suddenly my mom took my brother and me out of school, and
How did it turn into a cult? Like you saw it. Like what? Because I think one of the funnier jokes about religions is that like until they become a religion, technically all you have is a cult. Like before Jesus became this Christian hero, he was just a cult of personality.
Exactly.
There's a fine line between the two, though, right? Because there's a place for religion in society, but cults there is no place for.
Well, the big conversation right now is, holy shit, religion is a cult.
Yeah, right.
I mean that's kind of where we're at with all that right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of realizing, well, Catholicism actually is.
Oh, you're insulting my people now.
Well, I mean, my mom was Catholic too.
Yeah. Was this born of a Catholic church?
My parents grew up Catholic, but then we moved to Vacaville and they got involved with this church, which was very Pentecostal, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
In its own way.
You ever hear that statistic that's like Jesus is like the 26th most popular saint prayed to in Catholicism or something like that? I don't exactly know the formulation. I think that's hilarious though. Like there's just it's like, oh my God.
So many saints.
Give me a break.
Like Pentecostals, it's mostly just Jesus.
Yeah, that's a lot of Jesus.
They don't have time for all the others.
So you go through this cult. What brings you to... You have such a interesting and storied past. What brings you from there, growing up with that kind of background, to music eventually? Like what... I assume you always liked music,
I grew up with music because my dad was a classical pianist.
Oh, okay.
He was also a classically trained singer, and my mom was also a classically trained singer, and she could...
Did not know that.
Yeah, she could sing opera, and so I kind of like...
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, she never pursued it, but she trained to be an opera singer, basically. So I... just grew up with music. My dad always had a piano in the house. He was always playing the piano. He was always singing. So music was a very natural thing. I didn't hear... My parents were kind of snobs about music.
Of course they were. They're classically trained.
And so the only music that I really heard was jazz and classical music and musicals. But then I go over to my aunt's house and she would be playing Motown.
Whoa.
And that was the only other music that I ever got to hear.
Whoa.
And I just it shaped me.
So that's where the theatrical part of your music comes from.
That's where it all... It's a mixture of seeing so many musicals as a kid, but then suddenly Motown.
Huh.
Yeah, and so I didn't hear rock music until I was in my 20s.
What?
I had... what I was saying earlier was so when we moved to Vacaville, and prior to that my mom was homeschooling us. Well, she stopped homeschooling us, and my brother and I didn't go to school from 4th grade till 11th grade. So I had absolutely zero education except for Jesus and ritual from 4th grade to 11th grade.
Well, that's all the education you need there, boy.
Yeah.
Jesus and ritual.
Yeah. So why was I just telling you that? I'm so stoned. Because...
you took how many bong rips before?
All of them.
There are no more bong rips.
Yeah. Always be prepared.
Because I was interested in finding out how you got from
leaving that,
your background to music. Because you've also done I feel like you've done a million different things. You've done some adult entertainment. Mm-hmm. You're a personal organizer of some kind for hoarders and rich people. You've done
a lot of theater, go-go
haunted
dancing.
houses. Yeah. There's something that seems to attract you to theatrical stuff. You like theatrical stuff because Dirty Lovely Creatures and Hot Sauce Holiday, and we should totally talk about that, are both relatively theatrical acts, in comparison especially to a lot of bands in Los Angeles who ironically try to be, we don't care. It's like, you're a band in Los Angeles. Don't give me a break. You are the most self-aware of your image of anybody all time. But I mean, you've just what brought you to So for you, like, okay, so for me, I love doing this. I love bullshitting. I love conversation. I think it's great. I think, what you learn about people is awesome. But for me, being able to play music for a living, boy, wouldn't that be? That's like the goal of goals, And for you, is that the goal of goals, or is it like I could do that, or if acting worked out, or if this, you've worked in haunted houses or something, like
Yeah.
just a bunch of different stuff. Like, is there anything in particular that you're just like for sure, that's what I want to do? Like,
I love performing because when I get to perform, I feel like I get to use all my favorite parts of me.
right.
I have a lot of facets. I have a lot of parts of me.
Yeah.
But I don't always get to use the ones that I love the most.
Which ones do you love the most?
I love my performance facets.
Oh, I thought you were going to say my chest, my abs.
No, I
my
love,
balls are small, but the dick is big, so
but the
it
dick
compensates.
is huge. Yeah. No, I love performing. I did live theater for a lot of years. I did musicals. I did straight plays. I did I played the talented Mr. Ripley on stage.
Whoa, that's cool.
And I won a couple awards for it.
Really?
And
That's awesome.
And I loved doing that. Like, my director at the time, who was this guy named George McGuire, who was in Fight Club. He was in
Fight Club?
He was in Fight Club. He's the guy. He had a small role. So like at the beginning when he's going to like the therapy or the group sessions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he meets Bob with Bitch Tits, who's played by Meatloaf.
Meatloaf. Yeah.
So the guy who's running the group is the guy who directed me in The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh, the dude with the glasses.
He
is
stands
his
up and he says, everyone let's
okay.
thank Thomas for his bravery today.
Oh, that's super funny.
Yeah. So anyway, he was my director when I was in Talented Mr. Ripley.
Okay.
And something that he told me to do. Oh, and I'm about to tell you about some psycho shit, honey.
Let's hear it.
Something he told me to do was he said, I want you to go out and I want you to pull a Ripley. And I knew exactly what he meant. He wanted me to go out on my own and pretend to be somebody else and just interact with people and see what happens.
I get it.
So I went out and I donned this like really, I studied because I was in acting school and I was a thespian. I studied how to do like a really good Irish accent, which I'm not going to do now because I probably sound terrible.
You gotta.
Oh my God.
You just said you studied it.
I studied how to do a really good like Northern Irish accent. And
let's see. Can you say haggis is no meal fit for a proper man?
Oh my God. Haggis is no meal fit for a proper man.
Perfect.
So I studied this accent and I went to Sacramento.
Get the hell down from there.
What the fuck?
She's all. You're gonna make me put you in the other room? Really? Go back to your paper bag. We talked about this. Anyway, you studied this. You're right.
I studied this accent and I went out to Sacramento one night by myself. I went out to downtown and
Where'd you go to school? For acting school? Did you just take classes different places?
So basically, once I kind of figured out that we were in a cult and I wanted to leave, I went to my parents, and I told them I wanted to go to real school. And she said, well, you can't. You have no education. How are you going to go to real school? Huh. And she said, you have no transcripts.
No, wait, you have no, like you didn't go to high school?
No, I had no schooling from 4th grade until 11th grade.
That's nuts.
Like literally no school. Like
you're a pretty fucking smart dude for not having any of that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it gets crazier because she said, you don't have transcripts. You can't go to real school. And then I got so fucking mad because I really wanted to know what it felt like to be a regular kid because it suddenly occurred to me at the age of 16. I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't know what this is, but this is really unhealthy and really fucked up.
Yeah.
So I figured out how to go online, and this was like 2001 or something. Uh-huh. So I figured out how to go online. I find out what transcripts are, and I made fake transcripts for me and my brother. And I got us into school. I made fake transcripts saying that we had been in school from 4th grade for me and 2nd grade for him.
Good for you. That's hilarious.
Yeah, like all the way. I just made it all up.
Game that system.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. And so then I wound up getting to go to an actual high school for my senior year, and that was the most incredible experience ever because it was like, to me, it was like finally getting to be a real kid.
Well, that's, for you, that must be.
You know, and it's like I would.
Which is funny because every other kid is just like, fuck this shit.
Yeah,
we
and
don't want to be here.
What wound up happening is I wound up, when I first got there, it was kind of scary. There was a lot of, I grew up in a really homophobic area, and there was a lot of violence.
Yeah.
A lot of fucking violence, and it was a scary time in the early 2000s to be gay, and I didn't even fucking know that I was gay, but other people suspected I was because I was weird.
Are you totally gay, or are you just kind of a weirdo? You're like more gay than not.
I would say, I mean, I tend to just say gay because right now,
yeah, but you're not. You're not like
I've been with women. I'm not a gold star.
Yeah.
And I like occasionally being with women.
Yeah.
I like being with a woman and a man at the same time.
No way.
I love that.
Why?
Oh my God! Because you get the best of both worlds.
Because you get to experience, it's like chocolate and vanilla in the same sundae.
Of both worlds.
It's the swirl ice cream.
It's the shit. Yeah, I love that shit. But why were we talking about that? Anyway,
I have no idea. But
about
I know that we're trying to wheel around to
how I got out. Or
well, we can talk about that.
Oh, we were talking about me getting into school, acting school.
Yeah.
Right. So I get into high school for my senior year, and I inadvertently became very popular because I had such a sunny disposition because I was just excited to be like a normal kid. And none of these kids knew anything about where I'd come from or anything like that. I barely knew where I'd come from.
Yeah.
You know, all I knew is that it was bad and I had to leave. And I had a succession of like 3 things that happened that were very frightening.
Yeah.
That made me decide, okay, I have to leave. I don't know what this is, but I have to go.
Yeah, I have to get out.
So I wound up becoming pretty popular, and then I graduated, and then my parents got me into a junior college up there.
Nice.
And I met this guy, George McGuire from Fight Club.
Yeah.
He comes up to me one day, and he was like, "You seem like you should be in acting school." And I basically kind of wormed my way into his acting school, which then got me into his conservatory. And my thought process at the time was, this sounds really crazy. I don't know how to act like people because I've been locked away from society and everything for 4th grade to 11th grade. So I need to learn how to act like people.
Huh.
And so I got
So acting is kind of like a vector for you to figure out how to be one of us.
Yeah. And
that's really interesting.
Yeah, and so I went to this 2-year conservatory. I graduated.
I'm sorry, was that conservatory in LA?
No, this was still up in Northern California.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of between Sacramento
what got you to
and San
LA?
Francisco.
What brought you here?
After I graduated the conservatory, I had become really close friends with one of the other kids, Trevor, that was in the conservatory with me, and we said, once we graduate, let's go to LA. So,
how long have you been here?
Oh my God, I've been here 10 years and it went by really fast.
Yeah. Time does not exist in LA is what I've found. No. I've been here, I think, not even 5. I think I'm at like 4.5. And I still look back on Colorado as where I was living before. I'm like, yeah, that was like, a year or 2 ago. I'm like, oh no, it's been almost 5 fucking years, dude. There's where I'm from originally in Detroit, like there's seasons. So I can kind of gauge like where I am with respect to the year. And like, because like, winter has smells and you remember sitting around a fire, and fall has smells and stuff, and all the seasons
that
do.
Always turns us Californians on when you talk. I'm getting a Woody just hearing about that shit.
We're
like, what is that? What is that like?
What's it like? Well, here's what it's like. If you ever want to drive your car in the winter, you have to go out 10 minutes earlier than you want to get into your car. Start the car so it's not a fucking freezer box once you get in it.
Jesus.
Defrost it.
Yeah.
My one of my exes is from San Diego, and she moved to Colorado, and she was driving in the winter, and she was like, talking to people when she had to leave wherever she was, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna want to go, defrost your car, and she's like, the hell are you talking about? And they're like, here you go. And they give her a, one of the things that you use to chip
scraper.
the ice, the scraper. Like, you have to do that. Like, so but there is something, like, the thing about winter is, like, the first week or two of winter are majestic. It's very pretty. And, like, I have super fond memories of, like, being around a fire. And, like, it keeps people inside. So you have to figure out how to entertain yourself. So, people drink a lot there. A lot. Because, like, what else are you supposed to do?
Right.
Like, when I brought, my girlfriend back, she was just like, oh, my God, I haven't seen the sun in, like, 3 days. And we were going to be there for a week. And I'm like, yeah, you're not going to see the sun. Because Michigan in particular, in Colorado, it'll snow, and then it'll be there for 3 hours, and then the sun comes out, melts it, and then it starts again the next day. Like, in Michigan, it's just a gray hellhole. And so for 2 weeks, it's beautiful. So, there's this nice, pretty, fluffy white snow over everything. And then there's like 4 months of just like, I don't remember being this depressed before. Nothing has happened in my life that would cause me to be depressed. Oh, it's the weather. The weather is depressing me.
Yeah.
But it is nice to have that kind of changing of the seasons just to remind you of where you're at. Like, because all of a sudden when spring comes around, you remember the smells and the sensations from the year before, and you're like, I remember last year. You can kind of unconsciously compare yourself to where you were at. And like here, though, it's all just sunny and fucking clear skies. So it's like, I don't know.
I like our winters, I have to admit. Like,
dude, whenever people are like, it's so cold, brr. I remember I got here, dude, my first 3 months of being here, I got a job at a restaurant in Beverly Hills. And these people came in full fur coats. The dude had one of this huge coat, and the lady was just like, brr, brr, brr. Can we get a table away from the door, please? It's freezing outside. It was 60 degrees. I was like, and I was still showing up in a t-shirt because my blood hadn't thinned out yet.
Yeah.
I was still like, I'm from the winter.
I'm from the winter land.
Yeah, I'm from that place that all you people are horrified of. Like, the fact that fucking people in LA take vacations to warmer climates during the winter is mind-blowing to me.
They go to Palm Springs.
Exactly. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. But at the same time, now after being here 4.5 years or whatever, when winter comes around, I'm like, God damn it, I'm kind of chilly.
I know, you get acclimated to it.
You do. Yeah, you kind of learn.
Just up in Northern California, it gets
Northern California
colder.
gets way colder.
It gets way colder, yeah, and it's like
that's actually cold.
I go back there and I'm just like, I'm dying. Yeah, my kale isn't helping me.
Yeah, right. Why won't the avocados put an extra layer of fat on me? Like I go back to Michigan once a year pretty much for the holidays to see family and friends and stuff. And I am such a little pansy now. Like everybody makes fun of me. It's just I just can't handle it anymore. Like I need lots of layers or just lots to drink. That helps. So anyway, let's talk about, was Hot Sauce Holiday your first musical venture?
That was the first band I've ever been in.
First band.
Yeah, first band.
Did you do, so you did probably like musical theater before that.
I did a lot of theater right before that, and television and film and modeling and dancing.
Hot Sauce Holiday started when?
Well, technically it started in 2006 with the guitarist
Dan.
Dan Rambles.
Rambles, yeah.
Yeah, it was his band when he was in college.
Should I have
in the
introduced you as
Midwest.
Boogiewhip? Boogiewhip?
Oh, that's okay. People can know who I am.
Oh, man, that's terrifying. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We found out that Bruce is Batman. Fuck.
I know. Now what
screwed.
happens? Where do the comic books go? Yeah.
Okay, so it started when?
So he basically created it in 2006,
Okay.
and when he was in college, and then it died, and then he moved to L.A.
Where's he
and
from?
He's from Wisconsin.
Midwestern boy.
A Midwestern boy.
Much like myself.
Yeah.
Grew up eating cheese and dairy. It's very
delicious.
bad for you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
so good. It's so good.
So good. But
Hashtag
anyway,
guilty pleasures.
yeah. So he met me at a karaoke joint that I was hosting, and I got up and I was hosting karaoke at the time, and I got up and I sang a Prince song.
Of course you were,
And
by the way.
because I can do the really high notes.
Yeah.
And this funny guy comes up to me and he was like, "Hey, you've got a great voice. You want to be in a band?" And I was like, "Oh, that depends. Can I put some stank on it?" And he was like, "I don't know what that is, but sure." And so I just basically,
what is this stank?
Yeah, so he had already had this band, Hot Sauce Holiday, and at the time it was just a 3-piece. Him, me,
Hot Sauce
and the
Holiday
bassist.
was a 3-piece?
It was a 3-piece band. We were just a comedy act.
Huh.
And we were just performing in like kind of coffee shops, stuff like that. And it was just the three of us. It was me, Dan, and Cooper Bombadil of Westerner.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I always forget that he was in that band at some point.
Yeah, it was just the three of us. And then I started putting more and more
It's like a fucking hotel bucket. I can't even
It is like a hotel bucket.
Yeah, it's like I thought this would be a classy move for the podcast, and turns out it was really just stupid. But
What
it
a
looks
bad idea in the middle of the night. Everybody say bad ideas in the middle of the night. Bad ideas in the middle of the night.
Bad ideas in the middle of the night.
Good.
I like that. Saying it in that voice makes it sound like more of a good idea.
Maybe
Bad
it does.
ideas in the middle of the night.
Oh.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
these ideas. These are good bad ideas.
Bad ideas in the middle of the night.
Anyway, so Dan started at something. It was a 3-piece. Cooper was in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cooper might be mad at me for doing a podcast with Javier before him.
Oh, shit.
In my defense, Javier was just...
Was there?
He was just there. He
And
was
ready to go.
He was open.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
You had him wide open.
All right, so 3-piece, Cooper's in it.
3-piece Cooper's in it. And I just kept making it more kind of theatrical and crazy because that's what I came from and that's what I know how to do.
Yeah.
And then eventually I put them in costumes.
Okay.
And then I said, we're going to turn it into this like act basically.
Yeah.
And then we decided to add the drummer and that was it. And
Well, so you deserve a lot of credit. So I never knew the origin story of Hot Sauce Holiday. Like, I enjoyed you guys a lot. I thought it was a shame
thank
when you
you.
broke up.
Yeah.
And I understand that it had to happen because if, one of the founding members isn't in it, then it gets a little awkward.
Yeah.
But so you were responsible for that. It was a comedy act already, and that was worked into the performances and stuff. Pretty like not necessarily a comedy act, but it was
comedy songs with
when you guys did your thing at where is that? El Cid? That was like where I got hammered seeing your show. Embarrassingly hammered.
embarrassingly hammered.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I wasn't embarrassed, but everyone else who knew me was embarrassed for me. Like that was like the culmination of Hot Sauce Holiday. Like the songs are good, they're catchy, they're fun, but then you have this show to kind of like this whole
Bring
you
it
call
all
it a
to
cabaret
life.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was so much fun, man. It was
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a shame to see it kind of go. So you're responsible for the theatrical element.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
You don't think you could have kept it going?
I
Without Dan,
mean
would it
here's
not be right? Or what?
without him it wouldn't be right, absolutely. But I mean here's the thing is we still exist on paper. We're still on
Still
social networks, we're still on Spotify, iTunes, all the stuff.
yeah.
I don't know
Still an LLC.
what's that. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, does there become a reunion thing at some point? Who knows, maybe.
So so it dissolved just because of whatever. I really don't understand. You guys got to a point where like
Where everything was great.
money was like happening, and that show. I mean, you guys sold some of them out, right? If not more of them than less,
So we sold most of them out.
right?
Yeah.
And El Cid is not a small room.
Yeah.
It was cool, man. I remember like I had no idea what to expect when I came, and that's what she or he said, I guess.
Yeah.
But when I showed up, like I really didn't know. I knew it was a cabaret event. I knew there was a little something more to it, but it was cool. Like you sat down, you had the table. It wasn't like you going to one of my band shows where it's just like, all right, everybody pack into this sweaty fucking room and just
And go for it.
rub on up against one another and get really uncomfortable.
You guys are theatrical in your own way, though.
We are, yeah.
Which is really cool.
We're deliberately, definitely kind of playing with stuff, But you guys are it's a show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit down. I remember there was a dinner. There were drinks.
Yeah.
Plenty of drinks, and like it was a whole thing. I do remember one thing. Dan glared at me from the stage because you guys had this shtick at the beginning of the show where it's like, look under your seat for something. I don't even remember what it was. And
There's a picture of the puppet.
Yes.
His headshot.
Yes, and I was one of the people who was supposed to look under my seat, but I missed the cue because like Aaron Dozer was sitting right next to me, and he was just like talking to me about some crap, and I was like, "What?" And then Jess is like, "You missed the fucking guy," and Dan was just like
glaring at you. That's hilarious.
I think my table was the one where you had something planned, so I was just like, "Whoops."
we didn't have anything planned. He
All
just
right.
saw you, and he was just like, "I'm gonna glare at him."
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have to glare at somebody.
I haven't talked to Dan in a while. That's a shame.
Yeah.
I really like Dan.
I do too.
Are you guys cool? No?
I haven't talked to him since Sugar on Top.
Really? Mm-hmm. Did it end violently or, I mean, dramatically?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it did.
That's shitty. Do you
Yeah.
care to divulge any of those details or no?
Not really.
Damn you, Grout. Fine. That was the whole thrust of the podcast.
The whole thrust of the podcast. I don't know. I will say this. I've learned things about, everybody says I've learned a lot about that. You learn a lot about the business.
Yeah.
About how things work
Yeah.
the longer you do this.
Yeah, totally.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
You do it for a while, you learn how it works, and when you're constantly getting to different plateaus.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And sometimes you get to a plateau where the possibilities seem like, whoa, we can really do this.
Yeah, we're at a point where we could blossom and really make something.
And you learn who you really are.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You learn what you can handle and what you can't.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened to us.
Yeah.
Was that people figured out what I can and can't do
Yeah.
now. Because suddenly it was at a place where it was getting very serious.
Yeah.
And all we had to do was keep going.
Well, wait, but could you? I don't feel like there was any part of you that couldn't handle it. I felt like you were.
I was fine. It wasn't me.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what. Well, you said people figured out what I can and can't do now, which framed it in a way that made it sort of sound like you couldn't handle some parts of what was.
Oh no, I
going
could
on.
handle. Please, I'm fucking crazy.
I was gonna say you
Yeah.
were. You
No,
were.
I could handle all of it, but then I found out that some of the other guys just couldn't anymore because they wanted to do other things with their lives, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
But it was heartbreaking because we got to a place that kids around the world would love to get to.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And
Doing a show
suddenly-
like that, I mean, it was no joke. I'm not overselling it when I say the room was full. It was a whole experience. I mean, you had porn stars on stage,
Yeah.
not including yourself, or including yourself, I guess. Yeah. Aside from yourself, you had. I mean, yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
It was a whole. Yeah. Well, okay, so Hot Sauce Holiday. So you come into the picture when? Because it formed in 2006, and then you.
It was 2013 when he met me.
That's when you came
And
into
then
the picture.
yeah, and then it was a comedy act, and then we eventually added a
2013?
drummer. Yeah.
So I think I got here in 2014 at some time, late 2014.
Oh, okay. That sounds about right. Because I remember meeting you guys about 15.
How the hell did I meet you?
At some show, and I
Do you have any
thought
idea?
y'all boys were fine. And I told Hot Sauce Holiday, I was like, we're gonna follow those boys around because they're hot. And I said they got something they don't really know they have yet.
Yeah,
So
there
we're
you
gonna
go.
watch them for a little bit.
That's a good early call. That was before we were even.
Yeah. Well,
Really
no, I
that
could tell
good.
you guys did though, and you
Yeah.
guys do.
I
So,
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I wonder what show that would have been.
It might have been an Echo Park Rising because we played one of those.
Like,
Did you play? I feel like maybe you played with us.
like Rafa's?
At Rafa's, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we were there in 2015. Look what the cat dragged in.
Oh my God, the cat, this big sexy man.
This cat will not. This big sexy man.
This big sexy man.
Yeah.
Hey,
Come say
Yo.
hi.
is that Jonathan Grout?
That's me.
Right here?
That's me.
You speak so loud, you can stand a foot and a
Hey,
half
Jonathan
away
Grout.
from the mic.
Hey, you.
And it'll be good.
Mwah.
Aw,
Oh, that's so cute. Josh Loney, ladies and gentlemen.
that's Josh Loney, the one and only.
Just gonna make some noise with some plastic in the kitchen really quick. I call him earlier. What are you saying?
He's the bassist
He's the bassist.
for the absurd.
He is.
Anyway,
Actually, we were just extolling the absurd's virtues, so
yeah.
that makes. I call him earlier, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll be quiet when I get back to the studio," which is totally not in my home. And turns out we're 0 for 3 at this point, probably. I would say. I did call it out though, so that's more or less my fault. Yeah, man. So I didn't know that was. So you guys did a lot in a relatively short amount of time. I saw Hot Sauce Holiday like when I knew you guys, 2015 or whatever you're saying.
Yeah.
You got to the point you were doing the residency at El Cid when? Was that 2018 or
Yeah,
20
that started early summer of 2018.
Yeah, so that's like 4 years, and you're doing something pretty fucking cool.
Well, we did a lot. We played the Special Olympics.
No, you did all
we went
kinds
to
of
Lightning in
stuff.
a Bottle twice.
Really?
We played it twice, 2 years in a row.
What?
Yeah, we did so much stuff. But again, you get to a point where, and I mean, to be completely like open and honest, the thing that like pisses me off,
Yeah.
like open and honest, you kind of have to choose. Yeah.
No, you do.
Yeah.
You do. Well, and the crappy thing about I remember I met like one of my girlfriend's best friends. I met him for the first time. I'm like, "Are you a musician?" He's like, "Yeah." I saw all the instruments in I was at his place, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a bassist." I'm like, "Are you in a band?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, why, man?" And he's like, "I just got tired of being married to 4 other guys." And I'm like,
I feel like I've heard that before too.
yeah, for sure you've heard that before because it is totally insane. You have to have this ridiculous commitment. Josh, what are you doing over there? You just gonna munch in that kitchen?
He's a kitchen muncher.
You want to maybe bring it literally anywhere else?
You can't really hear it.
Nope, you can.
Prove it.
Also, I can see it, which is not distracting at all. You gonna make me move that for you, boy?
I got it, man.
Don't be mean to him. He's starving.
He's hungry, honey.
Look at him. He's a growing boy. My God.
He's a grown man.
If he doesn't eat now, he's going to tip over.
He'll blow away with the slightest breeze
He will, and you don't have the insurance for that.
because you cheaped out on the policy. Anyway. So
So basically, after it kind of died or decided to take a nap, I went completely crazy. Like
so you're
I
not.
do.
You did. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I went completely crazy.
You hit it well, but
Yeah.
me and others noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I went completely fucking.
You were obviously distraught.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it was like, fuck it. Like it was like losing a kid.
Yeah.
It was like losing your fucking child.
Well, yeah. When I was talking to Connor, I was asking him what it was like because he had a band before Karma Vulture that was called like Panic in Eden. And apparently that was a 10-year thing.
Yeah.
And then it just stopped. I'm like, dude, what was that experience like? And he's just like, I don't know, soul crushing. And you describe it as losing a kid. I mean, it is something you invest so much of your. Not only do you invest energy, you invest yourself. Like you
do.
become that thing.
You really do.
And when it gets ripped away for some reasons outside of your control, like before you even decide, yeah, okay, this is over.
And the thing for me that
It's like
kind
a bad
of
breakup.
it is, and the thing for me that kind of really just killed me was that I came from nothing.
Yeah.
I had no education. I came from a fucking cult. Are you kidding me? Like that's so fucking dumb. Like really?
It's unique.
So, so it's like I come from nothing and then I managed to create this thing that is something that can become corporatized, something that can become sellable,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like suddenly I was the only person that saw it that way.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, maybe that's, you know, but that was part of it. The other part of it again was that other people were starting to see like, oh my God, once you get to a certain point, you're not just getting high and playing music anymore.
Exactly.
You have to work.
Yes. Okay. So I think
You
that's a big thing for a lot of people. Like one of the things that breaks apart, one of the things that makes certain bands great is you're just getting high and playing music, and that's how
Yeah.
some of the best music is written. But then real pressures get involved. Like for instance, with the absurd, like that's still what we do.
Yeah.
But we're very cognizant and conscientious marketeers and business people, if you will.
Some people can also do that.
Oh, totally.
You know,
But what I'm saying is that at a certain point, noticeably, it was like, okay, we're having to turn down shows. And it's like our philosophy originally was just like, we're going to take all the shows all the time because we want to get as much exposure as possible. And this city doesn't care about you or your feelings or you suck. You're shit. You know, that's like how the city looks at people.
yeah.
And so, like, okay, we did that. Fine, great. Then we got a little bit of attention here and there, and then we wound up with the satellite residency. And then since then, it's been like, all right, we're going to do a new album. And now we're choosing things much more intent, you know, like, and we're turning things down because we have enough offers that we can, you know. And at that point, you can't just treat it in the same way that it was treated before, where it's just like, yeah, fuck it, man, let's smoke pot and play some music. It's like, is this a good business move? Like, is this, and that's something that's kind of both a blessing and a curse about modern times, is that, you know, you are going to basically, like, you do your graphic design, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, which looks phenomenal, frankly.
Thank you.
And so that takes time though.
Yep.
Like even editing this podcast, because I don't know video editing, I have to like I know audio editing, so I have to edit the audio, which takes really no time. It's 2 voices, whatever. But it takes some time to export and whatever. Then I have to transfer it from one device to another. And then I have to edit a video, and I don't know video editing, so I have to teach myself how to edit video. Luckily, this is like the easiest possible thing that you could edit. You just sync up the audio, you get the beginning and the end, whatever. But I still don't know a lot about it. So that takes a lot of time. All that time is cutting into time when I could have been writing new music, recording new music, you know,
Sure.
doing other things. And that's kind of like, it's on the one hand, it's cool that everybody has so much control over their own product. You don't have a record label barking down your throat being like, you will play these songs. On the other hand,
because eventually you do. and
exactly.
that's when it gets
On the other hand, that's what you're working towards.
yeah.
And boy, wouldn't it be better to be there? You know, I mean,
It also depends. It also depends on the type of person you are. Like again, like I was saying, you really get a good idea of who you are and who your bandmates are when you get into those certain plateaus.
yeah.
You know, because suddenly you realize, wait a minute, I really just wanted to do this for fun.
Yeah.
I don't want to. This
Yep.
is getting scary. Like this is going to get big. You know, or you're the opposite and you're like, well, this is what I wanted to get to. I knew it was going to come to this.
Yeah.
You know, for me, the thing with Hot Sauce Holiday is I always thought of it, and even with Dirty Lovely Creatures, like it is a business to me and a passion. And I know how to balance both of those because I'm fucking 500 years old at this point. I mean, compared to some other people
Some
in
of
this
these
business.
young shits.
Yeah, you know, so it's like...
Well, but you understanding that distinction though, that's one thing, because every musician I meet now is like, yeah, for sure, you got to understand that. But like, so I've been practicing with my band, which is not my band, another band.
that is called My Band.
Yes, exactly, which is
Capital M,
fucking confusing. Shout out
Y, capital
Jasmine
B.
Toby.
Tubi.
Their practices look a lot different from mine. Because in mine, where we're, you know, there is a certain amount of time, like, look, if you're in a band that's not your main job or even one of your main jobs, time is precious because you can't justify to yourself like, oh, we're here for 4 hours, So like, but I'm getting paid, so whatever. I'll be here for 8. Fuck it.
Yep.
The paycheck's there. If the paycheck's not there, it's like, okay, look, I got other things I got to do, you know? Whereas they're a little bit younger, and so they can kind of indulge in the chaos and the funness a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of awesome, you know? For me, just as a person, that's like what I'm always inclined to do, is just disengage, and it has to be the right thing. But if it's there, I will totally just play along. It's interesting, though, that like a lot of bands, I feel like will admit, like, yeah, you know, we gotta work, and it's a business, and but the follow through isn't there. You know, like they don't know what the hell
don't
they're doing.
have it. Yeah. It's like,
And most artists don't have it. They're artists.
they're artists. They're so sporadic, and everything has to be.
Everything's
Yeah.
on a whim, you know,
Yeah.
and there's no planning, there's no development, there's no anything. Their own social media sucks. The people who are even remotely good at it still kind of suck, because you see their stuff, and even if they have a lot of followers, it's like, this looks like crap.
Yeah.
And you know it does. And it's just they're younger, and they know how to game the algorithm. Congratulations. You're not doing your product any service. You have a bunch of followers on Instagram, but that's not translating into any, like, okay, so one thing I looked up was when we put out our album, just gonna crash into the microphone really quick, Build the Wall, our first full length. We saw the numbers on how many albums we had actually sold on Bandcamp. It was actually, like, for us, considering we don't have label support and no major publications are really willing to help us out,
Right.
a staggering amount of sales.
Nice.
And then we looked at a few other bands like Ramonda Hammers and Spare Parts from the, you know, East Side scene, who are technically way bigger because they do residencies at the Echo and all this fucking shit.
The East Side has a hell of a scene too.
It does. Well, that's where you got to go. And I talked about this too with, I think, Ian or Javier, or one of them, somebody. I talked about it with a bunch of people. You know, like whether or not you think the West Side is more fun, you have to go over to the East Side and do something that people notice. Because if you don't, no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
That's just how LA is right now.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Breaking into the next tier of anything is always going to suck and be uncomfortable, because people get progressively more fake the higher and closer you get to the top of the pyramid.
Oh, and we had a creepy. Maybe I want to hold on. Can I take a second and just talk about this for the sake of all of us West Side Revival kids? Like,
Yes, of course.
just kind of a warning about the big bad wolf. Like,
Oh.
oh my God, we had a fucking PR guy that hit us up. God bless him, because he got us our manager, which I'm still working with Dirty Lovely Creatures.
Is he managing Dirty Lovely Creatures? Or
Soon.
just kind of working with you?
He will be.
Cool.
Dirty Lovely
What's
Creatures.
his name again? I fucking hate every time I forget his name.
You forget it's Andy.
Andy.
Dirty Lovely
He's a very
Creatures
nice guy.
is
Short guy, talks kind of like with the...
Yeah.
He sounds like a manager.
I love him.
Yeah,
I love him.
you know.
Yeah. No, Dirty Lovely Creatures is still shaping.
Yes.
It is still very, very new.
I know.
Like, yeah, very, very new. I'm still trying to polish it off, this and that. But anyway, I was talking about this PR guy. We meet this PR guy. I meet him through a fucking sleazy dating site. And
Well, at least there's no ulterior motives.
yeah, so he tells me he's a PR guy. He wants to represent Hot Sauce Holiday.
Yeah.
He eventually brings in my manager now, who was he became our manager, Andy. He just kind of found him, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy, like, talked a big game, and he really did. I looked him up because I'm not a fucking dummy. Like, I looked him up to, who is this guy, whatever. He had some legit background in PR work.
Yeah.
But he, he basically, like, wanted to sign a contract with us. He made up this fucking fake.
How much noise you plan on making?
I'll leave him alone. He's had a long day.
Oh,
honey.
he's so tuckered out.
He's so tuckered out.
That sweet young boy, anyway.
He went online. What we think he did is he basically went online and found like a generic contract, but it was really, really long, and we all had to sit together, all of us, and like read it together to kind of make sure we weren't get screwed over, because everybody was nervous about this guy. Cooper, Mike, everybody was nervous about this guy. Ultimately, we decided not to go with him, and then he fucking threw a fit, and he deleted all of us on Facebook and all this crazy
good call for
shit.
not going with him then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
Dude, that's
yeah.
that's the best possible thing in the world is when you have like bad feelings about someone.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of say, look, no offense, it's nothing personal, but like we're not gonna go with you.
Yeah.
And then they show the side of them that
And
you
then they show
that
their
was the
true
reason,
colors.
the reason that you weren't gonna go with them in the
Yeah.
first place. Like
Yeah, thank God.
that shit's hilarious.
But no, I don't know. I would say to everybody, just fucking like trust your instincts
Right.
with that, because that almost tore us apart in a weird way.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, when we were going through that. Like,
Well, because
trying to
everybody
figure
has
out-
a different, because you're talking about such a nuanced sort of thing, and there's so
It
many
didn't almost
different
tear us
ways.
apart. Wait,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Well, but things like that, just do that again. Things like that like, I don't know, the pressures that are put on groups of people and bands in particular, there's a lot of things that happen that there is no clear answer to, you know? And so everybody has to kind of argue amongst themselves, especially if they have kind of equal share and equal investment in the band, that like, you know, everybody's going to have a subtly different opinion. None of them are substantive necessarily, but they'll tear a band apart. It's always the petty things. It's like roommates. It's like, why didn't you wash the dishes? It's like, I left one dish in the sink last night because I fucking forgot about it. I got high and watched a movie. Did the one dish bother you? Like, this always happens. This always happens, you know? And in bands, it's the exact same thing. These
it's the same thing.
tiny little things will fucking tear great groups apart, you know?
Bands remind me of polyamorous relationships.
That's basically
Like,
what they are.
They really are, and it's
You ever get in a band where like, dude, I wasn't in a band, but I've talked about this before too, like, and it's this way in every band or every group of people. Like, this band was Braves, and they're no longer. I'm still friends with all of them and whatnot, but it was a 4-piece, including myself, and I was a hired gun, you know. But I like would talk really well with one of them, and then you ever get in a band where you're just like left one-on-one with one of the members who you're just kind of like,
yeah.
so like,
Well,
we've been playing together for 2 years.
and I don't really know who you are.
I have no fucking clue who you are.
Yeah. I actually don't know what that's like because I'm only on my second band ever in my life. With Dirty Lovely Creatures.
I mean, I'm not on many bands either. I think I've noticed that in group projects in school, or I don't know if you're an actor or something. Like,
oh yeah, you go through groups.
Members of the cast, exactly.
Yeah,
Certain groups,
you do.
You know.
That's a weird thing about LA that I'm noticing more and more as I get older is that like you really go through groups of people.
Oh yeah.
And seasons of people, and it's like, oh God, that's kind of scary, especially if you're from a small town where people are like friends, you know.
Well, people come and go. I mean, so one thing that I really like about my LA experience, maybe this is just because I'm a particular person or whatever, but I think that, okay, so something The Absurd deliberately tried to do early on, before we thought, you know, we always thought we were good, but at a certain point we weren't that good. And like, what we wanted to do though, in order to try and generate a little more attention for ourselves, and what we have done semi-successfully, is create kind of a hodgepodge of people who are always interacting with one another. I mean, it's no secret that like where we live is, you know, people come and go, which is exhausting. And also awesome. I mean, I'm so fucking privileged to be in that position, you know? That's amazing.
It's going to be some of your greatest memories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. There are so the thing is though that there are so many of them that I'm exhausted by them right now. But in the future, I mean, even now I'm like, damn, you know,
let yourself keep getting exhausted by them.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
But so we kind of figured like there's strength in numbers, right? If a few bands get together, or more than a few, and one of them becomes popular, immediately all the other ones are pulled up.
Yeah.
Because they're just friends with them.
Yep.
And they played in the same scene. And it's amazing to me how many bands in LA and artists or whatever, just do not appreciate. We aren't helping you. If we help you, then we're not helping ourselves.
That was a big thing for me, is I always wanted to help anybody we could.
Yeah.
Like, because people had to help us. Because we were a weird fucking band. We
You
were a
guys
fucking performance band. And it was like, it was hard to figure out, well, we don't know where you would fit in our lineup. And then I would have to fucking schmooze,
Yep.
And be like, well, look, we're this and that and blah, blah, blah. You let us in, and then we wound up playing a fucking hip hop thing, which was always really fun.
That would probably be fun.
That was always really
People
fun.
would just
but
be
it's
like, these white boys are crazy.
oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and the music was so. Hot Sauce Holiday reminds me of like commercial music.
It's kind of,
it's all music that you hear on commercial.
Yeah. Except for it's not corny because in context, like,
Yeah.
What's that one? Dude, I had this fucking song stuck in my head the other day. Animal World?
Yeah.
Is that the name of it?
That's it. Yeah.
I can't take it. I can't make it.
I'm not
Something in
made
the
for
animal world. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And I thought to myself, I'm like, that's like, you should just put that in a commercial.
Yeah.
It should be in some
Yeah.
kind of commercial. But it also like live, the way that like the way that what the lyrics actually mean and the way you guys convey it is just like, come on, I get you.
Yeah.
And did you have germs too?
Oh my God, Dan and I
Tickle
wrote.
Fight?
Yeah, Dan and I wrote both of those high off our fucking ass.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds
we were,
like it.
We were so high when we wrote Germs, and Tickle Fight was literally
Tickle fight.
Yeah.
Tickle fight.
Everybody going to the tickle fight. You gotta wiggle, wiggle, wiggle while you
And
tickle,
then you
tickle your
fucking
neighbor.
jump down in the crowd and start tickling everybody.
Man,
pretty
sometimes
funny.
what was funny was sometimes people get mad.
People get way mad, I bet.
Oh my God!
I bet.
One guy.
What's this unsolicited touching
Oh
by
my
the
God.
rock band that I'm seeing in this sweaty club? Like,
I know.
I don't know. I thought you checked your pretense at the door. I thought that was kind of, the deal. But no.
There was one time I went up to one guy and I started tickling at him, and he picked me up and he just ran away. What? And I was like, what the fuck is gonna happen? And then he like ran away and dropped me in front of the bathroom.
What the hell?
And I fucking ran back to the stage because I still had to sing the fucking song. But he ran away.
He just ran out of the venue area?
Yeah, he ran out of the venue area. I mean, he was just being funny, but it was like, I was like, I still gotta sing.
Yo, I
And
got to
you're
finish
running-
the song.
Yeah, exactly.
But you guys, your band would have locked it down if you wouldn't made it back.
Oh
in
yeah,
time.
we would have figured it out.
Oh,
but
I miss Hot Sauce Holiday.
thank you.
You said maybe they're just taking a nap though, so are they going to come back?
I don't know yet.
All right, so how'd you get
Time will
from
tell.
So how'd you get from there to Dirty Lovely Creatures?
First of all, Dirty Lovely Creatures was the name of a screenplay that I wrote in college,
Nice.
and it was about it was based on two Shakespearean characters that me and my current roommate played while we were in acting school.
Yeah.
So it was a short film about two brothers who have an incestuous relationship with each other and their mother. They're very wealthy.
This is Shakespeare?
It's based on a Shakespeare play, Titus
based on it.
Andronicus.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But we basically took two characters.
It's like
from
I don't
Titus.
remember that Shakespeare play.
Oh, that's my favorite.
I mean,
Titus
I know
Andronicus.
that one,
Yeah.
but I didn't remember the one where there were two brothers who were in an incestuous relationship with their mother also.
Well, we took the characters from Titus Andronicus and basically told their story from another perspective.
Right.
And anyway, so I called it Dirty Lovely Creatures, and so Dirty Lovely Creatures is the name of that short film, and I thought
Yeah.
it would be cool. I wanted to make a bunch of, like, basically after I realized Hot Sauce was taking a nap
Toast.
or dying or whatever the hell it was doing, I went completely crazy and I wrote 30 songs. Just
30?
30 songs. Like, in the time span of like a month, I was just like, just wrote all these songs. And then I just had this idea. I want to make music about the things that people do when they think nobody's watching.
More ice?
Yeah, I'll take some more ice.
Here, let me help you with some ice.
Yeah,
I mean, I
thank
can
you.
hardly help myself with ice because I can't see inside this bucket. Okay, so you write 30 songs.
So I write 30 songs, and all of them are kind of about things that people do when they think nobody's watching.
Yes.
Because I've seen a lot of that in my
Yeah.
life. And so basically, Dirty Lovely Creatures is kind of like and again, we're at the very infancy stage of it. You know,
You got a hodgepodge of musicians in that band too. You got
yeah, I do.
2/3 of Karma Vulture.
Yeah, I'm super lucky.
Will
I'm
and Connor.
really, really lucky.
They're great musicians.
Yes, they are.
And then who else is in it?
And then my friend Della Dane of
Yes.
Porn Star Life.
She's hot.
She is hot.
She's really hot. When she was
She's
over
very
here and
hot.
you guys were taking pictures, I was like, "You're hot."
Yeah,
Sorry, Jess. No, she's hot.
she is really hot.
Yeah, she's got
And
big old
then-
boobies.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I assume because she's a porn star, she would not mind the way I'm describing this.
No, she'd be okay. She'd be
Yeah.
like, yeah, he gets me. And then J1 Kim from Navala. He's our drummer, and he is just,
Is he from Navala?
he's from Navala.
That's Brandon's other.
Brandon's other
Yeah,
band
yeah,
with the Afro funk band.
Okay.
And oh my God, he plays like a young god. It's just so fucking.
He plays really well.
I love the way he plays. So yeah, it's still in its infancy stages. I'm still kind of figuring out because I want it to have a little less performance than Hot Sauce Holiday, but also maybe just as much. I don't know yet. I'm still just kind of playing around.
Yeah,
with
you're
it.
very. I don't know if we've cheersed yet. By the
Yeah,
way.
cheers. Thanks. Yeah.
You guys are still figuring out what your identity is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What exactly it is. And I mean, the music is, again, stuff. The music is basically the stuff that I always wanted to do in Hot Sauce, but we never really got to it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely. I for sure think that you should commit to less theatrical because the music suggests less theatrical.
That's what I think too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like that doesn't mean that like you just are theatrical. You can't be.
I can't not be.
Jon Grout is Jon
Yeah.
Grout. There's no less theatrical,
Yeah.
which is fine. I think it's great. But yeah, I think like just fucking, you know, the medium that you're stepping into is the one where you're just naked on stage, basically. You
Yeah.
know, in a certain sense, you don't get to do a whole lot of gimmicky stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which in a sense sort of is a veil, you know, that you can put over yourself, you know, and just be like, okay, you know, I can step into this character and we have this whole choreographed thing, you know, versus what you're doing now is just like, this is a band playing music. That's a whole different thing.
It is
I
a
always
different
envy
ballpark.
fucking stand-up comics. I love stand-up comedy. I did it
I
once.
did that for a while after
Really?
Hot Sauce took a break. I started doing.
I remember
stand-up.
seeing some of your posts about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. I did it once. I bombed because I was in a horrible depression and my friend was just like, do it, man. It'll be good for you. I'm like, kind of whatever. I always loved it. So I just bombed because I wasn't in a good spot. But what I learned is that like I used to play a bunch of solo shows just by myself, playing my like solo acoustic stuff. That's much more terrifying than playing in a band. And
Yeah.
playing in a band is more terrifying than playing in a band with a shtick. You know what I mean? Like in a sense, the absurd still has a thing, and I can kind of hide behind this character.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just putting yourself out there as like, this is just what we do because this is who we
Yeah.
are, it's like, ooh, what if people reject that? What if nobody laughs? And that was the one thing I noticed like when doing the comedy and bombing is like, I remember I got like one pity laugh from somebody about some McDonald's joke. Like something about how nobody who goes to McDonald's looks like they're happy inside McDonald's, even though they deliver 1 million smiles a day. Like
Yeah.
something like that. And like one guy was like, ha! I'm like, oh Jesus. But you don't
Well,
have a guitar to hide behind. It's
you
just a
don't.
mic.
Something that I've learned, like, because I've been doing acting, I've done go-go dancing, I've done singing, I've done all this different shit so far, and it's like, I feel like you become a stronger artist that can become sellable when you stop worrying about, how do you describe it? God, like
When you stop worrying about God.
No, when you stop worrying about kind of what everybody else is thinking
Yeah.
about you.
Yeah. Well,
Because here's the thing is
Yeah.
like you might bomb in one room with your jokes,
Yeah.
but you go to another one and you
maybe you'll
probably
kill.
won't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's such a funny and that's the thing that I think a lot of, if I could impart any sort of, I don't know, wisdom of what I've seen over the
Yeah.
last, decade of being out here and whatnot, what was I talking about? I'm so high.
Wisdom. You were about to impart people
Wisdom.
with wisdom
I was about to impart people with wisdom, but what was it specifically
about what
about?
you gathered from being out here for 10 years about performance.
About performance. I know what it was. Yeah, I know what it was. Don't worry about critiques.
Yeah. Well,
It's well, let me just explain. Like the reason behind it that I have found is that everything out here is very fast.
yes.
Like it cracks me up when I have friends that come out here from the East Coast and they talk about, oh, it's laid back California, it's this and that. I'm like, honey,
They're wrong.
No, you
And they
don't
learn
know.
within 6 months that they're wrong.
They
too.
learn within 6 months, but it also depends on what they're working in. If you're working in entertainment of any type, it is fucking New York minute all day, right?
Never stops.
So something that a big thing that I've learned over the course of all this, because a lot of people, when Hot Sauce started and we started traveling around, there were people that didn't like us.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm a fucking gay guy, like up here doing all this crazy shit in certain venues where I got beat up.
I'm sure.
I had shit happen to me after the shows, but I kept doing what I was doing.
Sometimes not bad. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen?
Sometimes not bad. Yeah, but I kept doing what I was doing,
Yes.
even though I would go places where people hated it,
Yeah.
because I found there were places where people loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I started sticking to those places.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is if you get lost in what a critic has to say about you,
Yeah.
it will slow you down.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things out here is speed.
Totally. And you know what the hard thing to do is balance what critics have to say about you with not worrying about what critics like. To a certain degree,
Yeah.
you're 100% correct, right? And then there's a line at which you're not, and you do actually have to pay some attention, just because art is, especially performance art and entertainment, it's a relationship between you and the audience. If what you're trying to say is not getting through at all, or if they're having some kind of adverse reaction and they just keep having it, it's like, okay, something I'm doing is wrong. And critics can help you in that time,
But you need to be very choosy of who your critics are.
Totally.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
And then,
you're right
and then
about that. Yeah.
you need to be choosy of who your critics are. You also need to try what you're doing again and again and again in other spaces.
Yeah.
Because again, just because a bunch of people
What do you mean? What do you mean in other spaces?
like, okay, for example, we used to politically correct, God bless Orange County, whatever. We used to play in Orange County and they didn't like us.
Yeah.
It got kind of hairy. It got kind of dangerous
Hot Sauce
because
Holiday?
Hot Sauce Holiday did. They didn't like us in certain places in Orange County that were more conservative. They didn't like what
Really?
they saw. Yeah. And they were very vocal about it, and then it got a little hairy afterwards. But
What?
when we went to Pasadena, they loved us
Yeah.
and they wanted us to play in the Doodah Parade.
Yeah.
Now, here's a difference right here. Pasadena is a very liberal slice of California.
Yes.
Orange County is a conservative slice of California.
Of Southern California, it's the more
Of
conservative
Southern
part,
California.
yeah.
So guess what? As far as like if you want to make money and you want to advertise and be kind of a hustler,
Yeah.
basically, okay, if I know that I'm not going to be appreciated and they're going to hate me in Orange County, I'm not going to go there.
Right.
I'm going to go over here.
Right.
And at the end of the day, when you stop and think about it, basically the people in Orange County, their critique of us was that everything was terrible, we hate you. And we're going to get violent about
Yeah,
it.
that's not a critique.
Oh, it's still a critique.
That's just a blanket fuck you.
No, it's still a critique.
Yeah.
It's definitely still a critique. And that's what I'm saying is you have to understand just because a bunch of people are giving you a critique about something here doesn't mean when you go over here.
Oh yeah.
That it won't be a completely different story.
Yeah, well,
and that's why you have to really be choosy of who you're going to listen to when it comes to like the critiquing.
We
You know?
had the absurd is no stranger to controversy, and that's mostly by design, partially not. I'm amazed at the things that people get offended at. That's part of why I started wearing the America tanks is like because people just started being like, why are you wearing an America shirt? It's like, I don't know. I thought it looked cool. I saw it on the internet. I'm like, the American flag is a pretty sweet symbol. Like, I didn't know that it was going to be offensive. Like, and now I play it up because I know it is. Like, but we had, when we were doing the residency at the Satellite, we played with Sankarin, which is their current name, which is one of Josh's ex-squeezes. What's up, Jasmine? Other Jasmine. We had over the entrance to when you come into the ticket room, and then you go through the door, right over that door to the main venue, we had a Don't Tread on Me flag. I don't know how the hell that one got appropriated or what it even means that's offensive now. But I know I know that its history is Ben Franklin being like, yo, British, She comes in immediately, gets there for sound check and everything, and is like, yeah, hi, what's up, guys? Hey, anyway, what's up with the Don't Tread on Me flag? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it's a little offensive, don't you think? It's like,
Right.
I don't know, do you know whose residency you're playing at? Like, another guy asked me to take down the American flags that we had on stage because he was filming the set that night, and that's not really his thing. And it's like, sorry for giving you a show. I don't know. So I don't feel like. Here's the thing: is like those people in the OC. I don't feel like that's a critique. That's just a blind ideological hatred of who you are.
Yeah.
Like that's not a critique.
No, you're right. But the thing I'm saying critique because they also had their critiques.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they would come up to us and they would give us these critiques, but behind it there was all this kind of like blind.
You're good, buddy. Don't worry.
Yeah. But behind it there was all that kind of like blind hatred stuff within their critiques, which is always fascinating when that happens. But well, no, I mean the thing with I'm listening to your story you just told me. The thing that it kind of fascinates me about you guys is that you guys have. Oh, what's happening?
Oh, I'm just looking at it.
Oh,
it's too small for me to see by just glancing.
I think that you guys would do really well in some place like Orange County. I think that you guys would do really well in a bunch of different places up in Northern California, and Central California.
We do. Every time we go outside of LA, people are like, fuck yeah, rock and roll.
They're totally into it.
They love the shirts too. Like they love the whole thing.
That's the thing about LA is that there are so many talented
monolithic bubble.
A monolithic bubble. And there's what I was getting at is there's so many talented people in LA that that's part of why I had to kind of learn to like not get so hung up on like what the critics were saying or what people were saying this and that, because it suddenly occurred to me it was like, man, it really just depends on where I'm at.
It totally does.
Well,
even within LA, honestly, the way that we're received on the east side, people will still come.
Yeah.
And that's great. I'm thankful for it, but at the same time, I know I worked for it. So like, but people have problems with us over there. On the west side, no one really does. Like, there's also not the same venue scene, and there's not the same exclusivity on the west side, and that's part of what makes the west side fun. Which brings me to the whole West Side Revival thing, which I think is sweet and. Is really, it's a shit ton of fun. It's like the East Side, except for there's no pretense. Ian pointed out to me that there's no real strip on the West Side that has like a bunch of venues and then one really big venue. Like there's no Echo on the West Side. Yeah. This place, Venice West, might become that. It's apparently a big room. I haven't been there yet, but. So it might just be a geography thing, but whatever it is, I like the fact that there's a scene that's kind of challenging the East Side thing.
Yeah.
I still think you need to do the East Side. LA is, it's big for sure, but there's a lot rest of the world, for you to go to.
In my hippie opinion, everything just needs to join forces. East and West.
But the East Side is not interested in that. We've tried. I mean, or maybe we're the wrong people to do it. We've tried for so long to get them to, not come over here or us to go over there, but for everybody to just kind of like look,
come together.
Yeah, exactly. And
it depends on who the band is that's talking to them.
It does.
It really, and that's
what's weird.
I think that's something that winds up getting like to be kind of an issue for you guys, like here in LA.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because there is so much here, you have to know everybody, and you have to know somebody that can talk to this type of person, that can talk to this cult of people.
Yes.
It's like I'm more in the straight community than I am the gay community.
Yeah.
But because of that, a traitor. I know I'm terrible. I'm a gay traitor.
Gay traitor.
You're a traitor. Go fuck yourself.
Why don't you just go shop at straight shops then?
I know. Not that all gay guys sound like that. Okay.
No, that's a stereotype. You get off your fucking high horse. We were not saying that.
Get down here on the ground with the rest of us, you fucking horse riding motherfucker.
Come throw some fisticuffs around with us. That's not how all gay people sound, and we know it.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
But no, so I mean, it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of part of both of these worlds.
Yes.
And it's so it's like, what I like about West Side Revival is that it's a collection of different bands with different sounds.
Yeah.
And that, well, if I want to book a bunch of bands over here, I need to get Dirty Lovely Creatures, Westerner, Dig the Kid. But if I'm over here, it needs to be The Absurd. It needs to be these guys. Yeah. It needs to, like that's pretty cool, and I like that.
Well, it's a very conscientious thing too. And not everybody thinks this way, and we're novices in. I mean, we're not novices at this point, but like, this is not our natural thing. Our natural thing is to play music, but if people aren't willing to lend you a hand and you want to make a splash, you got to figure out how to do it for yourself. And so it's like when you're booking a show, like when we were doing the residency at the Satellite, people, a couple bands got angry at us for not asking them to play or for being like, yo, maybe we're sorry, we filled the spot or whatever.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, look, we put a lot of our effort into the East Side because the East Side, again, like we were talking about earlier, is kind of where it's at. So, there are business decisions that have to be made if you want to bring out a certain amount of people and make this promoter not completely unhappy. You got to appease that person.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and that's a different kind of thing. So, contrasted to the East Side scene, how do you feel about the West Side Revival thing? Where do you see it going? You're sort of a pretty integral member there. So what do you see happening? Why do you think it came about? How would you compare it to the East Side thing? All that good stuff.
The West Side Revival is composed of kind of more, I don't know what word to use. Oh God, I feel like anything I say is going to be offensive to the East Side.
You're on my podcast, so
I'm on your podcast.
Everybody already thinks you're offensive.
The West Side has a more like down to earth, just kind of like that, homegrown, sort of like, look, we work for a living,
right?
We work for a living. God damn it.
We're not pretending that we don't.
No, we're not. We're really hustling to make all this happen. We all work 7 days a week for Christ's sake, and then we do this in the nighttime.
Yeah.
It has that sort of underdog, like that's the word.
Yes, underdog is very good.
And I didn't know how to find it. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. West Side Revival has a very underdog feel to it, and so
that's a good thing, though.
It is a good thing.
I always root for the underdog.
Everybody does. Yeah. So for me, it's like, I feel like West Side Revival, I love that I'm a part of it, and I want to continue to be a part of it, and I want everybody that's in it to continue to work together towards something.
Yeah.
What I kind of feel like it's leading towards is, there's a lot of bands. I don't know a lot about bands. I don't know a whole lot about musical artists because I just didn't grow up with music. I mean, I only
You grew up
like,
with different kinds of music.
I grew up with different kinds. I grew up with cult music too, which was pretty weird. But
what is that?
Pretty damn weird.
Beach Boys?
No.
Wasn't it Brian Johnson who wrote some songs with Charles Manson or whatever?
Oh, maybe
He did. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Weird.
But no, but I feel like we keep steering off places, and then I lose my train of
You got to
thought.
not hit the bong 7 times before you.
I know I'm
start
such
a
I'm such
podcast.
a failure.
No,
Yeah,
you're not a failure. You're just clumsy.
I'm just clumsy. That's what it is.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
No, man. I mean, I'm really interested in the West Side movement. Is great. I think with the opening of Venice West is going to be. That's probably going to be a game changer. That place is, again, as I've heard, like a 300 cap room. That's a big room.
Yeah.
That's good because nothing else on the West Side is like that.
Is doing that. It just has to keep going.
Yes.
That's what I was kind of getting at.
Okay.
earlier.
Okay. So this is my criticism and remark is that it needs to keep building, right?
Yeah.
And so how does that happen?
You get press involved.
Where? Why? All the press is involved in the East Side. You?
I could get some press involved.
Well, why haven't you?
Because we can't talk about that right now.
We can talk about it whenever we want.
Because some of the,
This is
some
in perpetuity, motherfucker.
Oh, some people, I don't know. I don't know if you guys want that. Some other people I've talked to doesn't seem like that's what they want to happen.
That's absolutely what I want to happen. That's
Okay.
exactly what I've been talking about with a few different people lately is like, all right, so, dude, the main thing I've been thinking, I'm like, let's wait for this siren to pass.
Jesus. It's like another one showed up. Damn.
Like, goddamn, somebody is dying, like really dying. I assume with
there's
the
a
urgency of
fire.
those sounds, yeah.
There's an actual fire someplace. My God.
Oh my Lord. The issue is that the fire department is 1 block away and we're in the middle of the city. Do I need to repack that?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I really shouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking though today, like, frankly, the way to blow something up into more than it is, which eventually makes it become that thing, the bigger thing, is press.
Yeah.
And the issue is getting press to come to the West Side. Who the hell were you talking to that said, no, I'm not interested in press? Because I remember at the beginning of West Side Revival, Aaron was like, there's got to be, we got some press coming, blah, 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 blah. And then that didn't really.
Oh. Well, I don't want to say on the podcast who I've been talking to.
Well, you don't have to, but I figured maybe
No.
I'd ask you and you'd forget you were on a podcast and you'd spill the beans. Gossip sells, motherfucker.
No, but everybody has to be in agreement. Everybody has to because I know press from various things. And what's cool to me about West Side Revival is that, again, it's something that can be advertised. Here's a bunch of bands, these like underdog bands that are just trying to be seen as much as they possibly can.
Yes.
That's kind of a fun story.
Oh, it's great.
That's a fun thing. What the bands need to really, really, really help each other out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point of it is if one band becomes successful, then they all do.
Yes.
So there can't really be.
Well, and not even that, but at least all the other bands that were in the web elevate their status because you were in the scene that made X successful. You were one of them. You were hanging with those guys. You know them. Like you can eventually one of the members of that band is going to be like, I need somebody for a job, and I got this pool to pick from.
And a lot of bands suddenly die out of nowhere, and then you have a bunch of musicians that are left over, and it's like, well, what do we do with them?
It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest fucking thing.
It's
I
a
have to
weird
pee
thing.
really bad.
I
So
know I do too. Do we want to finish?
Do you?
Wrap it up?
no, we'll do it after. Do you want to pee first, or do you want me to pee first?
I have to pee too.
How badly? Like on a scale of 1 to 10.
Probably a 6.
All right, I'm at like a 5, so you can go for it. I'll go after you.
You'll go after me.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Sing and dance until then?
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Okay. Hello, my baby.
So, hello, my pudding pie. All right. So, West Side versus East Side. I'm trying to create a rivalry. I think it would be good because really there is no rivalry between the West Side and the East Side because the East Side is where it's at and the West Side is where people go after they're off work and they're tired and they go to get a drink or two and sort of feel like they're alive again. But the thing is, the West Side scene that is formed, it's got a lot of energy, it's got a lot of people, it's got a lot of bands. I think what it needs is a focus on the next step. I think that's what it lacks. Whatever the next step is, it needs to, if it's going to be deliberate about its actions, it needs to figure out how to get to the point where people want to come from other parts of LA to the West Side, because the bad thing about LA is that people don't want to travel a whole half hour, which is like one of the lamest things ever, considering every commute that you have to make in LA is at least a half hour, especially if you have to travel 3 miles in, rush hour traffic. In which case, that'd be 30 to 45 minutes. People from other places get their minds blown when I tell them about this. Jon Grout's back. I could hear the door open. So now I'm going to go pee. But I'll remain with you, ladies and gentlemen, until he's back to entertain you with his musings about whatever the hell he wants.
Oh my God, don't take too long. I'm going to bore them to death. Hi. Hi. What am I going to do in the meantime? I'll sing Prince because fuck it. Baby, baby, baby. Can't you stay with me tonight? Look at the cat. Oh, baby, baby, baby. Don't mock kisses, please. You're right. You were so hard to find. The beautiful ones, they hurt you every time. Paint a perfect picture. Bring to life the beautiful ones. Always smash the picture. Always, every time. Dee 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 dee. Baby, baby, baby. Can't you stay with me tonight? Oh, baby, baby, baby. Oh, thank God he's back. I was just singing Prince.
Oh, I heard it.
Damn.
I heard it from far, far away. That was fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
As far as I know. Yeah, I didn't hear all of it. All right, we'll wrap it up. I'm gonna go on ahead and get another drink before we do.
Okay.
Where are we at? Oh, yes.
What's the time?
Well, compared to the other ones, which have been like an hour and 20 minutes, this one is at an hour and 45 so far.
Oh my God, you have to cut it off at some place.
We lost track of time. What are you going to do? Okay, we'll cut it off here, and we'll leave it this way. I've asked everybody else this question, so I have to ask you the same. Hold on, I need to get a couple cubes.
Get your cubes.
Do, 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 do. Shh. Got myself the cubes.
Okay.
Gonna have a little bit of soda.
Do you need some of this?
I got it in there. I got
Oh,
it
you
in
have
there.
it in
Do you
there
need more?
already.
Or are you good?
Oh, I am so good.
You are so good.
I'm
All
so
right.
good.
All right. So I've asked everybody else the same stupid idiot question. It's like if you were stranded on a desert island and you
Okay.
were forced to only have, you could only bring with you 5 musical artists, 5 bands, whatever. It doesn't matter. It could be Ian LeBlanc got very confused and he was like, I thought you were talking about bands. I'm like, no, it could be any, it could be just a singer, songwriter kind of
Or it
person.
could be a band, or it could
Yes.
be
Any, you have 5 artists to listen to.
Okay.
Their whole libraries. You can choose the ranking system. It doesn't really matter. Just 5 artists that you can't live without.
Groove Armada, D'Angelo, Maxwell.
D'Angelo?
Yeah.
Like Black Messiah D'Angelo?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Prince and
Who was the first one?
Groove Armada.
Groove Armada.
They're my favorite. I love them to death.
Who they is?
Who they is? They're kind of an electronic duo. They've been around for a long time. They're
Groove Armada.
Groove
right?
Armada. Their most popular song is "I See You, Baby," shaking that ass, shaking that ass.
I think I know that one.
Yeah, they did that with Fatboy Slim back in the day.
Okay.
But yeah, Groove Armada, D'Angelo, Prince, Maxwell, and
Maxwell. Who the hell's
Maxwell. Oh, he's saying, "This woman's worth, this woman's worth."
that? I don't know if I know that.
You don't know? Oh, he's fucking
I'll
great.
have to check out Maxwell.
Yeah,
Okay.
and who else?
You knocked out 4 in like 10 seconds, by the way. Everybody else I asked this question to was like, oh, man.
Oh, they have a hard time answering.
They have a super hard time answering.
Oh, who would be my last one?
What do you have? Groove Armada,
Groove Armada, D'Angelo, Maxwell, Prince.
Prince.
Yeah,
Of
Prince,
course.
for sure, of course.
You're not a Queen fan?
I'm actually I like them, but I'm
Yeah.
not a fan. Like I didn't
You're
didn't
more,
really hear them.
I could see you more on the Prince side of things than
Yeah.
the Queen side of things. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
That's
really hear
interesting.
Queen growing up.
Yeah.
Which
I don't
is
know
funny.
a lot of Prince. I just know Purple Rain's a really good guitar solo.
That is a really good guitar. Yeah. No, Prince is great. He taught me how to sing. Oh, Michael Jackson would be the last one.
Even though he's a pedo.
Even though, yeah, just
Do you get disturbed though when you like? It's fucking dude. Like Bill Cosby, I grew up thinking was really funny. Mm-hmm. Like me and my cousins and I, excuse me,
Yeah.
would always like listen to to a lot of Bill Cosby routines and be like, shit is
he's
hilarious.
funny. Yeah.
Michael Jackson's music is amazing, undeniably. I think. But man,
I know.
what was that fucking documentary? Finding Neverland?
Leaving Neverland.
Something about Neverland.
like
Did
that,
you see
yeah.
it?
I couldn't watch it. It was just too. I knew that it was going to be. Did you
Dude,
watch it?
yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's like everybody knew before that came out, but that came out and it was like, ooh, man.
Yeah.
And like honestly, after I found out what I found out about Cosby, I think there should be a separation between artist and art.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, man, Cosby's shit was like some of the stuff he did. You know, same with Michael Jackson shits.
Yeah.
He's so good though, and he set
I
so
know.
many trends.
I know, and I feel the same way about people like Woody Allen and Roman
Right.
Polanski, and yeah,
Polanski
It's-
was just like, "Yo, what's up? Underage, not a problem."
yeah,
And fucking Woody Allen's, that's like incestual underage shit. Mm-hmm. We never had sex before we got. Well, once she was legally unadopted by me, or what? Like
then it was okay.
wow.
Yeah,
His excuse is the heart wants what it wants.
yeah, oh,
Yeah, it sure does. Right.
yeah. I don't know. It's hard. I haven't watched a Woody Allen movie in a long time. I love Crimes and Misdemeanors.
Man, I still love all of them.
Woody Allen movies.
They're good.
They're good.
Woody Allen's crime, I mean, his is, of the four we've discussed, let's see, Cosby, Michael Jackson, Polanski, and Woody Allen. I would put Woody Allen, he's like the least offensive. Although I still think it's disgusting. Like, obviously. But he's just kind of like, okay, if he's being truthful, he waited for his stepdaughter or what? He got divorced and remarried and something.
Yeah.
So he waited until she was of age and then divorced and asked her to marry him.
Remarried. Yeah, exactly.
That's normal. But that is probably the least offensive of all of these. Michael Jackson was just straight up. He had like 17 locks on his doors to his bedroom and cameras and stuff that were just like, I'm in here, welcome to Neverland Ranch, and I'm just fucking kids, whatever. Polanski, was it just one case or was it several?
It was just the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I remember. Yeah.
But I feel
sure
like
it was
that's
just the
indicative
one.
of the fact that it was, Cosby was just like, oh, you put hey, come sit on my dick after I drug you. You're a celebrity. You don't need to drug people.
I'm going to take off my sweater.
Right. You've already drugged people with your celebrity.
Yeah.
Why? And then Woody Allen is just like, dude, you got your own thing going on. I don't know what the hell's your thing. That's gross, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so 5 artists you couldn't live without. Roman Polanski, Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby.
I didn't say Roman
Woody
Polanski.
Allen. All right. 5 musical artists you couldn't live without. Who'd you say? You said...
I said Groove Armada, D'Angelo, Maxwell, Prince, Michael Jackson.
Okay. That's a pretty good list.
Thanks.
That's an interesting list, too. Given your background, like you...
Well, again, I didn't hear... The only music that I really heard was jazz, classical, musicals, and then cult music. And cult music, I still have a couple CDs of my...
What is cult music?
I have no idea how to describe it. I actually thought about bringing one of the CDs for you, and I didn't bring it.
Oh, my... All right, well, the next time we see each other, which will be soon.
I'll bring it. It's...
Of course, bring that.
I have no idea how to describe it.
I'm going to love listening to that.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, there's no way for me to describe it. It's just something you have to hear to believe.
Absolutely disgusting.
And then the music that I related to the most, honestly, as a youngster, when I finally could hear music outside of the cult, was in the R&B vein, and then house music.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I mean, the reason I could relate to house music is I didn't understand that I was gay at the time, but I understood that I was something different. And because I wasn't part of the black kids group, they didn't like me because I thought I was gay. And then I wasn't part of the straight kids group. They didn't like me because I thought I was gay. So it was like I couldn't listen to rock music, which was what all the straight kids were listening to at the time. I couldn't really, like the hip hop music I would listen to anyway because I liked it. But then the one thing that I had was house music. And that was the thing with a lot of gay kids is that because it wasn't about a particular anything. It was just a beat. It was just something to move to, and so that's why a lot of us kind of adopted it as our music.
Is house music gay music?
It's often synonymous with the gay culture. Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
So, and again, it's because it doesn't often have lyrics, so you're not getting songs that are singing about men and women. You're just getting sounds,
beats,
and then you can throw whatever you want into it. You can throw whatever emotional thing you want into it. So house music really resonated with me. Yeah, and then I got really into funk and reggae, jazz. I had always liked. First time I heard rock music, that was kind of a scary thing for me.
What was the first shit you heard out of rock music?
I have no idea, to be honest. Yeah. I wish I could. I wish I knew, but for me, rock music, if I heard it, that meant I was going to get beat up. So I had to
Oh, yeah. By the way, I'm glad that you said on that side because your handprint is on that.
Is on that side?
Yeah.
Maybe I did that on purpose.
Oh, my God. Well, I everybody else has sat on that side, so
yeah,
this is just my side, Did you know that coming in? Were you like, yeah, I saw that.
Oh yeah, I
That's where
knew
I'm gonna
that.
sit.
So I was like, okay, well, if I'm sitting over there, I got to put a hamper on that side.
Good man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I pay attention.
All right, let's end it.
Okay.
Should we?
Yeah, let's end it.
All right. Is there anything you want to project into the world?
Oh man, I don't know. I think I've projected all of it so far. Yeah,
If nothing else, this has been an exercise in projection.
an exercise in projection. Yes.
All right, Jon Grout,
All
Dirty
right.
Lovely Creatures, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Who cares? Whatever. Yep.
Cheers.
Cool, man. What do we go for?
Cool.
A long time.
long
Awesome,
was
man. Yeah.
Oh my
great.
God, you can't you have to cut it off at some point. You can't possibly.
Holy shit, this thing's been going for 2 hours.
Jesus Christ.
Well, that also